quick fix for 3 monsoon hair issues: dandruff, frizzy hair, limp hair. Yes, it exists. Let's find out. Hello and welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Rubina. I've had a career spanning 22 years between healthcare, IT, and skin and hair. And I post videos once a week on all these 3 topics. So do stay tuned. So, hair. Moment the monsoon start, one of the key questions that a lot of my clients or most of my clients will have at some point is dandruff, frizzy hair, or limp hair. So let's address these 3 issues and what are the quick fix for all 3 of them one by one. The first thing, dandruff. It's important to understand why do you get dandruff. Now, dandruff typically happens when there's a lot of moisture or there's a lot of oil in your scalp, and it is actually a regular normal yeast which lives on our scalp, but because there's so much of moisture in it that it tends to multiply very fast, and we tend to get this this flaky white things, irritating things on our hair. And when there's infection, if there's a bacterial infection also in it or a fungal infection, is when the itching starts. So a good way to take care of your dandruff is to do these 4 things. Number 1, if you have your hair that is moist or damp, you've got caught in the rain, or you've been exercising a lot and so there's a lot of sweat, please wash your hair. Washing our hair regularly is not a bad thing. It's not going to rip your hair of all the moisture and all those things. You rather have to deal with that by buying good hair care products than to deal with dandruff, because dandruff with all its fungal infection and everything else can really do a lot of damage to the hair follicle as well as to the hair. So choose the lesser of the 2 evils, and the lesser evil is to just spend a little extra on good hair care and wash your hair more regularly in the monsoons. I do it too. 2 things. Using a dryer to dry out the roots of your hair is a very, very good thing to do in monsoons. It just makes sure that there is no dampness on underneath your hair, especially in this area where the hair takes the longest to dry. So drying it out, even if you quickly frizz it for 5 minutes or something, it really dries up your scalp well and therefore does not make it a good breeding ground for bacterial and fungal infections. By the way, using a hairdryer is not a bad thing if you use it rightfully and carefully. So using a good hairdryer, a powerful hairdryer, which is going to take less time to dry your hair, is a good thing, and use a heat protectant. There are great heat protectants from Schwarzkopf, even L'Oreal that you can invest in. So better to do that than to have fungus and bacterial infection in your scalp. That's not doing you any good. The third thing, if you wear a hairstyle which is mostly tied up hair, it's good to come back home and open up your hair out just to make sure there's good air circulation in your scalp, and that itself helps a lot in making sure the scalp is healthy and reducing the fungal and the bacterial incidences that could take place on your scalp. Infections. The last thing, it is all right to use either Head and Shoulders or to use a good dandruff shampoo, especially in the monsoons and if you've had dandruff coming on, because these are medicated shampoo and they make sure they take care of the yeast and the fungal infection that's kind of setting in. These shampoos can be a little drying because remember we said dandruff happens because of a lot of moisture and oiliness on your scalp. So these tend to over dry, but you can easily take care of that by using a good hair mask. I have a detailed video on that. It's going to be linked here as well as in the description below. Have a look. And you could also use a good conditioner post shampoo that will take care of the extra dryness of your hair. So dandruff's taken care of. Now we move to the frizziness of hair. Why does frizziness happen? Frizziness really happens because we have these tiny bits of hair. No, one second. So there are 2 types of frizziness that happens. One type of frizziness that will happen to your hair only during the monsoons, and the other type of frizziness is when you just have frizzy hair. Now, if you have just frizzy hair, that's a totally different discussion point, and I'm going to do a video separately on it. So let's move that out of the table. We're going to be discussing frizziness that comes because of monsoons, and that really comes because there's a lot of moisture in the air. So frizziness caused by monsoons, you need to do 3 things. 1, use a very, very good conditioner. Look for a conditioner which has niacinamide, valine in it, has silicones in it. Silicones really cover the shaft of your hair and that kind of seals them in, and therefore they don't absorb too much of water. Silicones are not really bad for your hair. I've done a video on it. It's going to be linked in the description below. Have a look. Also linked here. They're not bad, provided you're washing them off more in the video. The second thing to do is to use a good hair dryer. A powerful hair dryer will dry up your hair beautifully and close the hair shafts, which is going to prevent them from absorbing extra water, which is so easily available in the monsoons in the environment around us. So that really helps. The third thing that really helps is that once you're done with the hair dryer, put on a leave-on serum. Leave-on itself is a good product to use. You also have these serums, smoothing serums coming from L'Oreal, which cost about $210 or something. But those are really great for monsoons and smoothing out the hair. Use them a lot here because this is where we have a lot of those flyaways, small hair poking out. So use that. Now for the hack of all hacks for frizzy hair is to do your conditioner and to give your hair a nice salt water wash. It really works. What you need to do is use a tablespoon of rock salt, dissolve it in half a cup of hot water, and then add cold water. You can add a little more cold water just to make sure the water is not too hot for your scalp. And once you've done the conditioner, rinse your hair out with the salt water. You'll be amazed at how beautifully it actually helps your hair get frizz-free. Let me know how it goes for you when you try it. Now the third condition, the limp hair. Limp hair typically happens when you have generally straight hair or nice, healthy, glossy hair. But because there's so much of moisture in the air, it tends to absorb that and be totally lifeless and, flat and chopped up from here. Well, there are three things you can do for limp hair as well. Number one is to make sure that you're using a good hair conditioner which has, again, polymers in it or silicones in it. These silicones cover the shaft and therefore prevent your hair from absorbing too much of extra moisture and air and water available in the air. That's the first thing. The second thing is to actually dry up your hair. A good hack is to take all your hair on one side. If you're parting it over here, take all this hair over here, dry it up against, and just pull this back up. It gives you a nice bounce on the crown of your hair and doesn't make it really chopped up. But that helps the scalp part of it. What about the lower part of it? Well, that brings us to the third thing that you can do. The third thing you can do is to make your own salt water spray, and it works beautifully. So after you've conditioned your hair, you've washed off your hair, and after your hair is about 50% dry, you spray your hair with the salt water spray and then go ahead and dry your hair completely. And don't forget to seal the hair in with a good leave-on product. This could be from the brand Leave-On itself, it could be from L'Oreal, Schwarzkopf, even Olaplex has a nice leave-on serum. Because of the salt, it does not absorb water, moisture from the environment around, and therefore remains locked with all the natural moisture that it has and doesn't get limp. These are my three favorite hacks which I do for my hair itself, because at some point of time your hair will go through all these three stages. I do tend to get dandruff if I've not taken care of my hair, especially during monsoons, if I exercised and skipped washing my hair that day for whatever lazy reason. Or second, I do tend to get a little bit of frizzy ends over here sometimes, where it's, just things that happen to you during the monsoons. These hacks have always saved the day for me. Give it a shot, and if you do, let me know how it goes for you. Leave a comment here just so I know that these things are working out for you and I need to bring in more things that work for you. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, please do subscribe. Another thing that I want to add up with you. One of the critical things to do when you have dandruff, especially if it gets worse during monsoons, is to actually meet a dermatologist. Stubborn dandruff which does not go away with a regular off-the-shelf shampoo like Head and Shoulders or there's so many dandruff shampoos out there. It doesn't go with that. Actually might be a scalp and a hair condition that requires a doctor's intervention, and it can be very serious as well. So it's very, very advisable, if your dandruff is very stubborn and smelly and very itchy, that you please meet a dermatologist at the earliest. It could be a multitude of scalp conditions that look like dandruff from top but will be very, very serious. So do not neglect going to a dermatologist for any skin or hair condition that is not improved. What I'm telling you and what you're learning on YouTube is not medical advice at all. And the same thing I advise for everybody who has stubborn acne. Acne is not a cosmetic issue. Acne is a medical issue. Similarly, dandruff is if it's stubborn, is a medical issue. So do not neglect it, and do not substitute beauty advice from me or your beauty guru for a doctor's advice. Till I catch you next, stay well. Ciao.